Please welcome to the stage Lee Camp.
Wayne Pryor. All right, how is everybody? You good? Yeah, you having fun? Yeah? Excited? It's fucking exciting. I don't want to start off too depressing. I have a tendency to talk about depressing topics, so we'll start off on a light one. Happy people, right? Fuck happy people, all right? And I don't mean like in the moment, like someone who's happy in the moment, like someone's happy because they're at a comedy show or they're making love to a beautiful person or an ugly person they've flipped over. You know, I'm talking like people you just see walking down the sidewalk and they're like, just smiling. You're like, what the fuck? Have you looked around? We've got nuclear radioactive F5 tornado quakes coming at us right now. There's no reason to be that happy. What are you, Dora the Explorer? Did you just solve a riddle, motherfucker? There's no reason to be that happy. 70% of this country thinks that NASCAR is a thinking man's sport. All right? Fucking 20% of my home state of Virginia thinks the state flower, the dogwood, is the state dog. All right? There's no reason to be smiling. In 31 states, I'm not making this up, in 31 states there are laws against having sex with animals, which means there was a plague of people having sex with animals and then getting caught like mid-ferret fuck and be like, this might not be pretty, but it's not like there's a law against it. And everybody would be like, no, we need a fucking law against this. There's no reason to be smiling. There's weird shit going on in our Food and Drug Administration, which will allow things like aspartame equal sweetener, which can cause seizures or death. They're fine with that. But they had one company recall all of their eggnog recently because it didn't say egg in the ingredients. If you're allergic to eggs and you drink eggnog and you die because it didn't say egg in the ingredients, aren't we all better off? Like, that's the way that shit should work. You know, just name it Darwin's eggnog and everyone's happy, right? I don't drink it because I'm allergic to nog. Doesn't say nog in the ingredients either. If you have to be positive, if you have to be an optimist, do what I do. Be a cynical optimist. View the glass as half full of shit. All right? It's the best way to do it. I mean, there's no reason to be positive. We're still in the middle of this corporate raping and pillaging of the world that we've all just accepted like it's a Black Eyed Peas song. It's like, well, I guess it's going to be around for a while. Might as well pretend like we like it. Resistance is futile, you know, and that's why Occupy is so exciting. Occupy Wall Street is fucking incredible because it's people standing up against that shit. It's a mental, and look, whether, right? And whether it's called the same thing in 6 months, whether it's changed, the fucking floodgates are open now. It's a mental awakening, all right? People are tired of greed over good, of profitable pollution over people, of war for wealth, of the welfare of average citizens. And that's what it is. It's about fucking standing up against this shit because the people that caused the 2008 collapse, they're richer than they've ever been. None of them are in jail. Now they're going after fucking teacher benefits and shit. Like, really? Teachers are fucking heroes. Teachers deal with those little shitheads all day long, and they get paid less than the guy at the zoo in charge of making sure the hippos fuck. Like, really? And they go after teachers, and they're going after unions. And look, unions have some problems like any large entities do, okay? But unions are also responsible for tiny, forgettable things like a weekend and like a 9 to 5 if you have it, healthcare if you have. Getting kids out of the workplace alone was crucial because they're fucking annoying and they're shitty workers. They don't know what they're doing. They're hitting all kinds of buttons on the factory floor, lopping dudes' arms off. Like, what do you mean, whoopsie? You've worked here 3 years. Since you were 2, you should have this shit down by now. So we gotta stand up. There's big ways to fight back, like protests. There's little ways too. Like if your job steals your health care, just steal their staplers. Just take their fucking staplers. Yeah, I might not get the liver transplant I need, but good luck affixing 2 pieces of paper together, you twat lickers, right? Just little shit. Streak through a board meeting or slip a photo of your ball sack into the PowerPoint presentation. You're not gonna know whose sack it was, right? Just little shit. Fucking, take your family on a vacation to the oil-covered beaches of the Gulf of Mexico. Take a bunch of Christmas card photos. Send one to the head of BP and write, Happy Hanukkah. This oil's lasted more than 8 days. It's a miracle! Just little shit, all right? If you work for one of the chain franchise restaurants, I know you need a job, but just, they fucking homogenized and sodomized our culture. Just give shit away for free. Just give shit away. Just fucking food, napkin dispensers, whatever. And if the boss is like, what's going on? Be like, oh, table 5 didn't like their trademark chicken pot pie rooney, so I gave them a free cheesecake a rooney. And whatever the fuck. You don't owe them anything. What, because they stopped calling you waiters and started calling you associates or friends of the family or franchise cuddle bunnies? Yeah, it's too bad the slave owners didn't know that trick 200 years ago. Hey, we're going to stop calling you slaves and start calling you friends of the plantation. Or associates or something. And take your money out of the big banks that fucked us. Put it in a little bank, put it in a milk carton, and if you want to feel like you're at a big bank, every time you take money out of the milk carton, flush $1.50 down the toilet and smack your grandmother. You'll feel just like you're at a big bank. Also, this works. Go into one of the big banks, say you want to open a business account, and then when you're sitting in that little office with them, just slowly start taking a dump in your pants. Never mention it, maintain eye contact, just sit there. Just let the smell fill the entire place, If they want to shit on America, then it's going to come right back at them. Just be a thorn in their side, a wrench in the gears, a herpes sore on their lip, right? It might not kill them, but a million herpes sores will make them rethink who they're fucking. It'll work. It'll work. All right, this is for those of you not liking my other stuff. Have you ever noticed that baby oil should be more expensive? You figure they must have to process 5 or 6 of those little fellas. But they don't want us to stand up, right? They just want us to fucking go back to shopping. Just go back to shopping, go on your stupid vacations where you dump a month's worth of pay into the slot machines and the manufactured dreams. And this shit, it's like they want us to, the shopping and the marketing, it's infiltrated our entire lives. Every moment of our lives is branded in some way. You can't have a drink of water without it being brought to you by Poland Springs. Your friendships are brought to you by Facebook. Your love life's brought to you by eHarmony. Your sex life is brought to you by Trojan's new fiery icy crotch cream. You got good times brought to you by Heineken and bad times brought to you by too much Heineken, right? You got security and or death brought to you by Smith & Wesson. Laughter brought to you by Tyler Perry's new Medea Goes to Fuck a Fiddle or whatever the fuck. You got war brought to you by Exxon, Boeing, and Blackwater, and eventually a deep depression brought to you by the realization that nothing in our lives is real. Not a minute, not a moment, not a fucking second. But don't worry, there's pills that can fix that shit. They're brought to you by Prozac. So we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. It's all manipulated. You control language, you control minds. That's how it works. And all these little lingo shit, this naming shit. Like, I went into a coffee shop. I wanted a piece of coffee cake. I was like, I have a piece of coffee cake. And the guy goes, which kind? And it's got a little corporate name they've given it. It says Crumbleberry Coffee Cake. And I thought to myself, I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna say the word Crumbleberry in public. Trying to live a life with some dignity here, all right? I don't want to say Crumbleberry unless someone's pointing a gun or a sick baby at me. So I was like, that one? He was like, which one? That one? Which one? That one? He fucking knew which one, all right? Because the other one was called like Coffee Palooza or some shit and was clearly only meant for asexual middle-aged women who wear Christmas sweaters out of season and fucking sit home watching the DVD box set of Who's the Boss. He knew which one. But he wanted to hear me say it because he's got a miserable fucking job. He's got to sit there getting screamed at by Snooki lookalikes all day long because he accidentally put 3 pumps of caramel piss sauce into their strawberry mochiata caramel piss latte. So he's getting yelled at, so the only joy he gets is forcing 30-year-old dudes to say words like Crumbleberry. I want a Crumbleberry. As we slowly place our balls in the tip cup. So I told him to go fuckleberry himself, and I left. And you know, I love that joke, because even if you didn't like it, you're going to use the word fuckleberry. You know it. It's all, like, you know, and then, like, every moment, we don't even think about half of the manipulation. It's like, you go to a store and you gotta get the valued customer card, right? You gotta get the VIP card so that they can monitor everything you fucking ever do. And yeah, you get a discount, but they know all your likes, your dislikes, your STDs, your pet peeves. They know all that shit, and they use it to fuck with you. So I'll get the card because I want the discount, but then I'll end up spending as much as I was gonna save just by buying weird shit to fuck up their system. You know, so I'll get my groceries and then throw in like a giant flashlight, some nail polish, and a Hannah Montana cupcake. You know? Then come back a week later, return the cupcake, get a Red Bull and some vaginal cream, right? Then come back an hour after that, return the Red Bull, take a piss in the cereal aisle. Good luck analyzing that, you cocksuckers. And they're sitting in some corporate boardroom in Delaware staring at a computer going, looks like men over 25 are buying more vaginal cream than they used to. We'll have to market to that demographic, you know? We'll name it something snazzy and macho, like Vaginal Maximus. And then a week later, I see a national ad starring Zac Efron talking about how he loves his Vaginal Maximus. And that's when I know I've won. Fuck them. I have a voodoo doll of myself at home that I treat quite well. And of course, now when you're on the internet, every site is a valued customer card, right? Every site knows everything about you. And like the internet's done interesting things to us. It's taken away all of our privacy. It's apparently made us all assholes. Because you look at the comments on like a YouTube page and people are assholes. Like, and I think it's because it's such an anonymous, fragmentary lifestyle that people are like, go ahead, call that guy a shit-stained monkey brain. You know, who cares if it forces him to sit in a dark corner of his home, popping Valium and reading Goodnight Moon over and over and over, just to dull the pain. You know, if he didn't want to be called a twat face, he never should have posted that clip of his hamster eating a piece of popcorn. It was a shit video and the lighting was way off. I had someone disagreed with something I posted, so they wrote, ha ha ha, you have a lazy eye. Which, first of all, I don't, but even if I did, what a fucked up way to debate someone. Like, you would never hear that in person. No one, like, you wouldn't see a presidential debate. I disagree with you on the budget crisis, and here's my rebuttal. You smell like a dead raccoon. It's made us assholes. It's also apparently made us all just give up on spelling. When did that happen? Apparently everyone's like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't know whether the word misspelling has 2 S's or 7, and I don't have time to care, all right? I don't have time for grammar and spelling and reading and verifying spotty intelligence before bombing foreign countries. Seriously, I don't have time for that shit. You know, and I misspell stuff. When I've had a couple of drinks and I'm staring at a computer through one bloodshot eye, I'll throw a couple extra R's into the word slurring. Sure, who hasn't? You know, and I'm not talking about weird words, too. I'm talking about normal fucking words. Words like, apparently 70% of the country has decided that anything that even sounds like your is Y-O-U-R. It's like, you're going to a swingers party? Y-O-U-R. I wonder what swingers parties were like in the days of yore. Y-O-U-R. Why does your bed smell funny? Is that urine? Y-O-U-R-N. And the words there and definitely now has 9 widely respected spellings. They all seem to have a wayward letter A in the middle of them. And if you look closely, even that letter A doesn't know why the fuck it's there. All right? It's looking around confused and scared like Elizabeth Hasselbeck on The View. Doesn't know why it's fucking there. And what bothers me the most is this isn't the days of yore when in order to spell something correctly, you had to get out a big old dictionary and hurl it at your servant so that he would fucking horseback ride it an hour to the town wordsmith who would chisel the correct answer into a plate of granite and send it back to you. No, there's a little red line under every word that's misspelled, and that line, that's the computer going, hey, this is fucked up, all right? I don't know what the fuck that is, all right? I'm pretty sure the word definitely doesn't have a silent G in it. Or do we just have such an ego that people think, well, the computer couldn't possibly know more words than me. I know these. Or do people think the red line is a festive red boa? The computer has added the word to celebrate their excellent spelling. Hurrah! And it also matters when you're misspelling shit. You know, if you're doing it when you're tweeting or you're sexting or sometimes the Esquire magazine you bought doesn't have enough big goofy W's to finish your ransom note. I understand that. We've all been there. But I'm talking like, you can't when you're misspelling shit and you're arguing politics, it matters, you know? Like arguing that abortion should be illegal shouldn't be done while simultaneously arguing that the word abortion should be spelled with an SH, all right? Unless you're taking the pro-choice spelling view, it's my word, I get to decide what's inside of it. The internet's also apparently given us just the shittiest culture imaginable. Our culture is shit now. It's just a pile of shit. It is. It's like one of those pointillism paintings where you don't see it and then you back up and you're like, oh, it's a gorgeous landscape. But with us, you back up, you're like, that's a giant pile of feces. Holy crap. And then we all press our faces back against it and we're like, if you're this close, you can't even tell it's shit. You can't even smell it. Really, like what popular music has just become a race to see what they can get jammed in your skulls the quickest. I made fun of Black Eyed Peas earlier. Like, Black Eyed Peas had a hit with Boom Boom Pow. That's just noises. You're just yelling noises at us. That's a baby gargling. That's fucking... racing, things that get stuck in your skull, that's not a song. That's a brain tumor, all right? It's a brain tumor. And even outside of music, what great art has been created, and even if there is some, we fucking fly by it, we race past it because we have the attention span of a mongoose on meth. You know, we fucking fly by. I mean, 100 years from now, how are they going to describe our culture? Like, I think they're going to call it the Antoine Dodson culture. Now, most of you don't remember who that is, and that's part of the point, all right? This is the guy who had a viral video where he did a news broadcast. There was an attempted rape on his sister, and he's going nuts down in Alabama, and he's like, hide your wives, hide your kids, they raping everyone around here. So that clip was then taken and auto-tuned and remixed and sold as fucking ringtones and t-shirts and Halloween costumes. And now, a year later, we don't even remember it. Like, so that's the equation that equals our culture. It's sensationalized news broadcast plus attempted rape plus auto-tuning plus merchandising equals a pile of shit. A pile of rapey shit. And if there's a museum with our culture 100 years from now, it's going to be a pile of just Donald Trump hair pieces and Kim Kardashian bras and like a Spider-Man themed dildo, you know? And if you're still alive, you're going to have to stand next to that pile and go, yeah, I can't explain that. I don't know. A lot of mercury in the water, I guess. It's because it's too much, right? It's fucking, we're in the information age and it's just too much information. It's all, you can't even grab onto anything. It's like it's probably, this flood of information, this flood of bloggeria that sprang out of all of us is covering up important shit. You know, like if there were a great thinker here today, if Charles Darwin were here today instead of 150 years ago, would anyone hear a fucking word he said? Think about it, he'd type a blog about his theory of evolution, he'd get like 14 views and 4 comments. You know, 2 of the comments would be from his parents. One would be his mom, like, we're so proud of you, Chucky. And then the other one's his dad, like, how are you going to make money from this blog thing? You know, then the other 2 comments are like, I'm not the monkey, you're the monkey fag. If you like monkeys so much, why don't you suck a monkey ball sack? And then his smarter readers are like, yeah, I'm passing on my genes, all right, all over her tits. LOL, LOL. But let's say Darwin didn't give up, so he gets linked to a science website, and he gets 100 more views and 28 digs or thumbs up or Reddits or whatever the fuck, and people start talking, but right then, the evangelicals get wind of it, because they can smell science, So they send their legions of Jesus freaks and Moses tards over to his site, and in one afternoon, he gets 192,000 thumbs down, and not one of them sees the irony of Darwin being sunk by thumbs, you know? Right? And yet he still keeps going. He cuts his theory of evolution down to 140 characters for Twitter. Little tweet-length nano tribe on the origins of mankind. And he posted up there, and people start talking, but right then the naked photos of Justin Bieber come out. And no one gives a shit about science when there's a naked 12-year-old on your screen. Right? And that goes for any great thinker. If Copernicus were here today, it'd be 100 comments that are like, yeah, the Earth circles the sun. Then how do you explain sunsets, moon fag? Yeah. That'd be it. Too much information. You know, someone told me there's a website now where you type in your neighborhood, it shows you a map of your neighborhood with a red dot for every pedophile that lives near you. Now, don't get me wrong, those are the biggest sleazeballs on the planet, but why only pedophiles? Why not murderers? You wouldn't want to know if a murderer's near you, fucking O.J. Simpson's downstairs, or Donald Rumsfeld's next door? You know, what about attempted murderer? That's just someone who tried to kill someone and fucking sucked at it. You know? Yeah, he might not kill you, but if he stabs you 44 times with a plastic spork, it's gonna sting like a bitch. You know? I'd almost rather have a murderer, someone who takes pride in their work and gets the job done, right? What about road ragers? You want to know if a road rager's in your neighborhood? Because that's the gateway crime to graffiti penis art. It is. I looked it up. And graffiti penis art is the gateway crime to cat fucking. And what type of cat owner would I be if I didn't keep one eye out for the cat fuckers? And before you know it, your neighborhood's covered in red dots. You're like, ah, shit, there's 19 dog fondlers in my district alone. I don't know if I want to live here. And how do we know the pedophiles aren't using that website to find their friends? Get together and create some sort of army of pedophiles. Unstoppable platoon of pederasts with their kitty porn and their candy corn, you know? The whole city would shut down. All the traffic stuck behind convoys of unmarked vans. There'd be no more gym coaches or candy store employees. No more puppeteers or carnies. Nowhere to get a decent caricature drawn, right? What about corporate criminals? I want that fucking website for corporate criminals, all right? I think all of them should be marched out, and we should say to the country, hey, point to the guy who touched you in the 401k, all right? All right? Point to the guy who violated your mortgage and fondled your IRA, you know? Because 23% of corporations have been convicted of crimes, and they just go back to doing what they were doing exactly this. Like, we wouldn't accept that on any other level. We wouldn't. If you walked out your front door and there was a 6-year-old selling lemonade, and you bought your lemonade, and you had a sip, and you're like, that's urine! You pissed in a cup! You wouldn't then go, now move it a block down and keep it open. Yeah, just sell to them down there. Wait, just fucking ignore it. And the FBI does a big report every year about crime. They show all the crime stats. They say, here they are, here are your criminals, your assholes, your bridge trolls, here it is. And you know what they don't list is corporate crime. They list, street crime is responsible for $4 to $5 billion a year. Corporate crime is responsible for $400 to $500 billion on average. And they forget about, that's like listing all the oil spills and forgetting the Exxon Valdez. It's like listing all the terrorist attacks of the 90s and forgetting about the Macarena. You know, it's like listing all the greatest basketball players of all time and forgetting Muhammad Ali. I don't know sports. I thought I'd throw it in there for the sports fans, but I don't fucking know sports. So. It must be tough to train those police horses to be racist. So yeah, I do. It's just all I don't know. It's because you know we want. We're cool with privacy we're maybe not cool with it, but they make sure there's privacy for corporations and governments. That's why WikiLeaks fucking freaked them the hell out. WikiLeaks, it'll be back, by the way. Something will be back. But WikiLeaks was amazing. All I need to know that I loved WikiLeaks was that it was making rich, powerful people shit themselves. Just shit themselves and piss themselves and bitch and moan and shit themselves. Take off those pants, rinse and repeat. It was amazing. It was my new favorite sport. Which would you rather watch, a tennis match or the U.S. Department of Defense go, we didn't want you to know about that? And yet our media, our fucking shitty media, acted like all that mattered were the sex allegations against Julian Assange. And look, if there's any evidence against any, rapist or sexual predator, put them on trial. But they're acting like the cold, hard facts that came out through WikiLeaks don't matter at all because Julian Assange gives off a rapey vibe. That's like saying the guy who stood in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square didn't matter at all because he once went down on a panda bear. You know, he gave us an iconic image of a brutal regime cracking down on their people, and besides, maybe the panda liked it. You don't know. Pandas don't get much action, right? There's only 3 of them left. So they insist on privacy for governments and corporations, but we've given up all of our private rights. We've given them all up. It's absolutely amazing. It's because, like, recently on New Year's Day, they passed indefinite detention of American citizens without a trial or charges. Both sides, fucking both right and left. Indefinite detention, and that's when you know it's creepy shit, when they're passing it on New Year's Day, when they're like waiting until they're drunk and cleaning vomit off their pants. That's the moment. Just slip it in there. Indefinite detention. I mean, like, look, there aren't many differences between the right and the left, the parties. I mean, on a lot of topics, there's not a lot of difference. But if you pulled that lever for Obama, one of the main things was you were like, well, at least he won't lock me in a cell in my underwear for eternity. That was the one thing! That was the thing! You know, the dude was a constitutional law professor, for fuck's sake, and apparently never read the fucking document. All right? I mean, apparently the Constitution is now just a whiny, naggy document that we try to ignore, but it won't shut the fuck up like a poorly trained Jack Russell Terrier or Ryan Seacrest. You know, it's like, it's just a recommendation now. It's like a little, maxim we try and live by. Like, beer before liquor, never sicker. Or before you taste her Snapple, make sure she doesn't have an Adam's apple. You know, those so stupid little things that don't really matter. Right? Well, and I know you're thinking, like, those of you who don't study this shit probably think, oh, well, it's probably for hardcore terrorists. But it actually says in the document, for suspected acts of belligerence. That's all I do! That's my whole career! My talents are being belligerent, cantankerous, combative, and also I knit these little doilies with cats on them. They're fucking adorable, but you can have my belligerence when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers, you cock-sucking, twat-humping bumblefucks. What the fuck, belligerent? I suppose I shouldn't be that surprised that this fucking gold-plated, poop-stained proxy plutocracy would ban belligerence. Next, they're gonna go after acts of mockery and parody and sodomy. Well, no, they'll keep sodomy because they got to keep fucking us. So they'll keep that. Giving away all of our privacy. We'll give away anything to fucking just be protected from terrorism. Be protected from terrorism. And, it's an actual fact that twice as many Americans die in the country each year on average from peanut allergies as from terrorism. And I know what you're thinking. You can see where I'm going with this. We need to work equally hard to protect ourselves from peanuts, all right? We need a fucking peanut alert chart. We need to, if someone leaves a bag of peanuts unattended, we gotta blow that shit up, okay? We need to drop Navy SEALs into the Planters compound to shoot Mr. Peanut in the fucking face, all right? And that goes, too, for anyone who wants to wear a monocle and a top hat. You want to dress like a peanut? We will treat you like a peanut. Right? And 50% of all peanuts are grown in Georgia, so that means all of them fucking terrorist sympathizers, all right? We've got to take out that whole state, You don't want the smoking gun to be in the shape of a Reese's cup. No, you don't. No, you don't. The world was better when we got away with a little shit. Now that we've given away all our privacy, no one gets away with shit. Right? The world was better when a 20-year-old could use a fake ID. It used to be that if you had like a creepy friend with a lamination machine, the world was your oyster. You could order missiles from Russia with that shit. But now there's holograms, and the world was better when an 8-year-old could reach in a vending machine and steal a candy bar without it lopping off his arm, right? The world was better when if there was no wooden bar at a toll booth, you could run it once a month without some douchebag robot taking a photo of your license plate and sending it to his boss at the government. Which brings me to another point. We were promised cool robots. Remember that? We were promised cool robots. They all work for the man. They're all the fucking military and the cops. And is the healthcare that good, R2-D2? I thought you were a robot of the people. Huh? Don't think they don't have them, by the way. They have the fucking good robots. There's a room somewhere with scientists standing around with the best blowjob robots you can imagine. But they're not giving them to us. They cut the suction down halfway and give us the Roomba vacuum robot. That's all. That's all we get. That's all we get. You know, get away with a little shit. The world was better when you could lie a little bit in a job interview without the boss going online and finding photos of you doing coke in college, right? It was better. Which brings me to another point. Cameras are too small. You never know if they're in the room. We need to go back to the Wild West cameras where like a gypsy would set up a tripod, put a curtain over her head, and pull a chain, and the whole thing would catch fire. Everyone runs out screaming, right? When cameras were like that, no one was surprised that there were photos of them licking whipped cream off a burlesque dancer. Oh, lying and falsifying were the oil that greased the gears of this fucking country. Like, that's what it was. Now that no one gets away with shit except for the big corporations and the government, we have a shitty economy, no one can get a job. Average dudes can't pick up a girl in a bar without her going on her phone and finding out, oh, you're not a well-respected lawyer in Hawaii. You're a dog walker in Brooklyn. 2 minutes later, she's asking you why you only got a 2-star rating at judgeyourdogwalker.com. Not fair. Balloon animals are a great way to teach children that things they love dearly may spontaneously explode. So yeah, let's talk about something a little less depressing. Afghanistan? All right. Isn't it amazing that's still going on? And we fund both sides of the war in Afghanistan. We pay the Taliban millions to let our trucks through so that we can fight the Taliban. We're losing a game of solitaire, all right? You understand? No wonder a scrappy group of insurgents in torn clothes and flip-flops are able to compete with the most powerful military in the world. They have us on their side. That's how they're doing it. I think that some of these things, some of these issues, it's like people just don't want to admit they were wrong. They'll fucking stay in Afghanistan for eternity if they don't want to admit they were wrong. I feel the same way about the death penalty. It's like people just don't want to admit they were wrong. This past year, we watched an innocent man executed, Troy Davis, and fucking people are still standing behind it. And when you argue with people about the death penalty, it's always the same. First they say, oh, well, it's deterrent. It deters murderers. And that's true in that it's not true at all. It's never been proven true. And then they say, well, I don't want my tax dollars to go to keep a murderer alive. It's weird to put someone's life in terms of your tax dollar. What kind of fucking bargain is it? Oh, okay, so you don't want 17 cents out of your taxes to go to keep the murderer alive. 17 cents murderer, no good. What about 15 cents and it's a rapist? You cool with that? No? What about 12 cents, it's a pedophile? You get this copy of The Hangover. How do you what the fuck kind of bargaining are we doing here? And then they always come down to the same final argument. They go, well, it felt good. It felt good to see Saddam Hussein or Timothy McVeigh executed. And I see what they're saying. It feels kind of good in some dark place. But wouldn't it also feel good to see the CEOs who caused a banking collapse locked in a cage with 1,000 fire ants and beaten with a sack of their own money? Yeah, feel pretty fucking good. Feel pretty good. And would it feel good to see the Real Housewives of Orange County have drywall shoved in their mouths and spackled shut? Yeah, feel pretty fucking good. And would it feel good to see the head of Chevron dropped in a vat of oil and raped by a crew of exotic birds? Yeah, feel pretty good. Feel pretty fucking good. Why don't we do it? Because it's morally wrong. So if we're morally opposed to that shit, why not a racist, faulty death penalty? And I didn't even mention the racist stuff. They've done studies, and the number one determinant of whether someone gets executed, race of the victim. Race of the victim. So you kill a black person, no big deal. You kill a white person, you have harmed society. All right? So you could pummel Nelson Mandela or Will Smith to death with a tennis shoe and get 5 to 10. But if you touch a hair on the head of Gary Busey or Screech, then We're gonna hang you upside down and force you to watch reruns of Saved by the Bell till your head explodes. Oh, man. I don't know. So like I said, the two parties we're allowed to vote for on a lot of topics, they're not that different. But that doesn't mean I'm above trashing the right-wing nutbags. What the fuck? It is amazing to see this gaggle of bobbleheaded giggle shits run around. It's amazing to see a politician stand in front of thousands of people and be like, if elected, I will make sure you don't have health care. And they're like, yay! That's amazing. Bet the other guy can't promise me that. I mean, look, bullshit and propaganda are everywhere around the world, all right? They're everywhere. But there's certain areas of this country that are so good at believing this shit. There's certain areas that still believe Saddam Hussein caused 9/11 and President Obama's actually a Kenyan and President Bush was actually elected. And not just... And not just that Jesus is the Son of God, which if that's your religion, that's all right, but also that he was white and Christian and a good freedman capitalist. You know, these are the type of people where if you told them Jesus was a dark-skinned hippie Jew with no money, they would punch you in the face and run away screaming like you just told them there was a law against having sex with animals. You know, they have to believe Jesus was white. They have to, because God made man in his image. So if Jesus wasn't white, that means God's not white. And if God's not white, oh, fuck. White people are in for some medieval style payback. I'm talking fucking scorpions on our faces and tarantulas up our asses and nothing to watch on TV but the Winter Olympic curling finals and nothing to listen to but Jay Leno's monologue jokes. It's an ugly scene. It's an ugly scene. It is. They're fucking nuts. Now they're going after Social Security. They're gonna want to get rid of Social Security. Are you nuts? If you get rid of Social Security, it's gonna be just ancient people wandering the street begging for change, like Night of the Living Dead. Just grand zombies everywhere. You know, asking you crazy questions. Can you help me find a phone book? A phone book? I haven't even seen a book in 5 years. Phone books went extinct before pterodactyls. And speaking of pterodactyls, you might want to consider cutting your fingernails. Don't you get it? Social Security is our way of paying old people to stay home. That's what it is. Like, well, here's $60. Just stay in your house and collect tiny crystalline cats until death comes and knock it. All right? Your calcium-enriched yogurt is on us this month. It's just don't get behind the wheel of your 1975 automobile filled with used Kleenex and drive straight through a farmer's market with your left turn signal still going. Do we have a deal? If we're gonna do it, we gotta find something to do with the old people. My recommendation, if we're gonna do it, let's send them to the sweatshops where we get our clothing made. All right? Because, look, you know, you and I are both against child labor. Let's look into some elder labor, right? We need t-shirts that cost less than a Pepsi, and they need a hobby. Perfect match. It's a perfect match. They like to sew. They like collecting tiny coins. They get 12 tiny coins a month. They like it when it's hot as balls out and it's not called a sweatshop for nothing. Don't thank me, Eunice. Thank the Tea Party. Adult diapers would be more popular if they were called multitasker trousers. I was, speaking of right wing, I was home in Virginia arguing with a right wing cousin about immigration, and he was like, they're ruining our culture. Immigrants are ruining our culture. And I'm like, America doesn't have one culture, right? Different areas have different cultures. So if you think immigrants are ruining your monster truck rallies and your country music channel marathons of the Redneck Choice Awards, I don't think so. I think that's going to be fine. The closest thing we have to a general American culture is supposed to be apple pie and baseball, all right? Now, I've had 5 good pieces of apple pie in my entire life, all cooked by Italian immigrants, right? And baseball, all the best players are from Central fucking America, all right? Our national pastime. Everybody's got last name Rodriguez, and I think we're doing all right. So we don't have, we got a melting pot culture. It's a fondue culture, and there's a little bit of apple pie. There's also a shitload of falafel in there. Shouldn't we just be proud of that? And then he's like, well, they're taking our jobs. They're taking our jobs. And I don't think that's true, but even if it were true, you have to go after the fat white guys who hire them, too. You can't just go after the color you don't like. You know, do a little research. You think that just because there's a handicapped person greeting you at the front door of Walmart that everything's peaches and cream in the back room? That handicapped person at the front door of Walmart is the Christmas wreath on the pedophile's home, all right? It's just there to make you think everything's okay. That was where you drew the line? Making fun of Walmart? Wow, all right. Fair enough. Had no idea. Such big Walmart fans in here. And then he was like, well, they broke the law. They broke the law. You're going to take away all human rights because someone broke a law? Like, you've never broken a law? You never ran a stop sign or smoked a joint or had a beer when you were 17 or declared your goldfish as dependents on your tax return or smuggled a couple of exotic poisonous frogs into the country or sold a pair of underwear over eBay that you said were worn by Brad Pitt during the making of Fight Club when they were just worn by you during the watching of Fight Club. You never did any of that, never broke any law. Then you're a boring fucking person, all right? And I don't want you in my country. I want a country with people who've tried shit and done things. People with STDs and scars, you know? People with court-ordered electronic monitoring bracelets. People who know how to make a couple easy dollars over eBay. That's what I like. You know, you go after the logic in some of these arguments, and it just crumbles so quickly. Like you know, legalizing marijuana. They've tried to do it in California, and it lost. And one of the main reasons was because they did the ads that say it's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug. Gateway to what? I've never smoked pot and thought I needed crack. All right, I smoked pot and thought I needed cheese. Cheese in a funny hat. All right. And if you want to do the gateway thing, you know, pot to harder drugs, you got to also say alcohol is the gateway to pot, and alcohol is also the gateway to pissing on your friend's couch and vomiting in the back of a police cruiser, which is more harmful to the social contract. You know, really? So if you're gonna do this gateway thing, you gotta go, okay, pot to harder drugs, alcohol to pot. You gotta keep going back and back and back to the original gateway drug. The original gateway drug, eating paste in kindergarten when you were 5 years old, right? You get enough of that glue shit, you get blackout intoxicated, you wake up 2 weeks later in a whorehouse in the Mariana Islands with your pants around your ankles and a tattoo of Piers Morgan on your ass. I've seen it happen 1,000,000 times. You know, so then you gotta have a war on paste, and then there's gonna be a black market for paste, and how many toddlers have to get shot or stabbed or sell their kids into slavery just to afford their paste habit before you think there's gotta be a better way? Where'd I lose you? Right? Anyway, I'll give you one of these. Because you've been good. An inflatable life vest is only a life vest in the case of a water emergency. In the case of a sword emergency, it's a comical pop before your death vest. So why are we circling the drain right now? Why the fucking... I think part of the reason is because the difference between good people and bad people, the difference between just people and evil people is that evil people have plans. They always have a fucking plan, right? You and I don't have plans or messenger agendas. We just stumble through life thinking everybody will treat each other right and play a game of frisbee golf. You know, we don't fucking have plans. They have iPad apps and PowerPoint presentations to figure out just how evil's coming along. You know, see if it needs an evil course correction. We don't have fucking plans. We have donuts and Sudoku. It's just donuts and Sudoku. That's all we fucking have. I mean, what was your plan tonight? Your plan was to get a drink and come have some laughs. Meanwhile, Halliburton's plan was to cause a military coup in the sovereign country of Eritrea, a place neither you nor I even knew existed, but they knew it existed because they have maps. They have plans and maps, all right? And I'm just saying the good people of this world aren't going to make any progress until we get some fucking office supplies, all right? Just a couple of 3-hole punches or something. Something. Well, anyway, I don't want to list all these problems and not go into some solutions. So this last little chunk is solutions. These are some ideas. These are some plans for the good people. All right, it's not much, but it's a start. First of all, I think we need to bring feminism back. What the fuck happened to feminism? All right. Seriously, ladies, you can't let men run this world. We will fucking set fire to it and then have sex with it. Even if we're singeing our crotch as we go. We don't give a shit. We're assholes. We're the worst. And you can't fucking let us run. I mean, where all the feminists go? They used to be here a second ago, and now you hardly meet one, and if you do meet one, it's often a dickhead. You know, like Sarah Palin claims to be a feminist, and I didn't know having hair extensions for brains and being anti-women were some of the tenets of feminism. It's like, you know, the feminism used to be a strong, powerful movement for peace and love and equality, and somewhere along the line it got sidetracked by Paris Hilton and Britney Spears and RuPaul, and now the bar has been set pretty low, you know. Now you're considered a feminist if you don't use spray-on tanner on your twat. People are like, oh, you don't spray tan your twat? That's very progressive of you. Right? You gotta take it back. I think part of it is that we don't want to stereotype, so we don't want to admit that women in general care more. You care more about the world, about people, about the environment, about snuggling and shit. You know, you care about that stuff. And so I think that you gotta fucking take it back, stand up and take it back. We don't care about things. Guys just care about fucking things. And we're fucking this world up and down and in the ear. You know, so you gotta take it back, and then you get your revenge by vajazzling Mount Rushmore. Fucking do it, right? I also think we have to start young. We need to teach kids different shit in school, like when they're little. Like what do you learn when you're a little kid in school? You learn how to memorize a poem. And then you get a little older and you learn how to make a piñata or something. And then you get a little older and you learn algebra. It's really shit I've never used in my entire adult life. I have never paid a bill with a poem. I've never bought pizza with a piñata. I've never sprayed a rapist in the face with algebra. You know? Not that a little algebra wouldn't slow a rapist down. It probably would. But just saying, let's teach them real shit. Let's teach them how to see a news broadcast and scream bullshit at their TV and hurl it out a window. You know? Let's teach them. Teach them how to beat up the drunk guy at a bar, calling him a racial epithet that doesn't even apply to them. Like, fuck you, you fucking chink. I'm from Ecuador. You know, let's teach them that. Let's teach him how to poke him in the eyes and grab his mullet, you know? Let's teach him that the real criminals in this world don't wear hoodies and ski masks. They wear Armani suits and Gucci neckties. They don't threaten you. They smile at you as they get you to sign a mortgage you could never fucking afford. Let's teach them that. Let's teach them how to have some sympathy, how to see a homeless person and give them some change or some heroin, you know, something useful. Let's teach them right sympathy rather than just teaching them, hey, in 5th grade dodgeball, throw the ball at the kid with the circus-like obesity and cross eyes because he always dodges the wrong direction. You can't and laugh at the same time. You gotta pick an emotion. Right? Some sympathy. Kids also watch too much TV, and I know that's we all watch too much TV, and I know or internet videos, and I know that's something that's said a lot. It's so old, it gets tiring, but some things are said a lot because they fucking make a good point. They're fucking, you know, I don't know, like cheat off the Asian kid's test during a math exam, you know that? Or cheat off the Indian kid's paper during a technology quiz, or ride on the Samoan kid's back during a phys ed test, right? These things are said a lot because they make sense. So we watch too much TV. On average, over an 80-year lifespan, we watch 15 and a half years of television. 15 and a half years of having our minds liquefied and zombified, you know, hypnotized, and then glorifying fucking products and bullshit and corporations. And you know, they've done brain scans, and the brain waves emitted with watching extended amounts of television are closer to a hypnotic trance than they are to actual conscious thought. And yet we think we're smart enough to decide whether we want the shit that's being sold to us. You know, you think you're smart enough, and then you find yourself opening the box to your new doggy stairs or your fucking box of Snuggies, and you wonder what the fuck happened to your life, right? And it's not just products that are sold to us when we're in that state, right? It's propaganda news and political views. It's fear and anger and hate and Michelle Bachmann. Like, that shit's also sold to us. It is. It's violence, right? Because violence gets ratings. You know, there's professional wrestling. There's no professional cuddling. You're not going to see that one. Even porn has become nothing but angry hate fucking, right? When was the last time you saw a porn where the actors even pretended to like each other? I mean, honestly, like, kissing nowadays on a porn set is as welcome as the actors' family members. Remember the good old days when porn had, like, romantic music playing in the background and there was a candle lit and the boy would help the girl with her strap on like a gentleman does? Those were naive times, right? And of course, as you probably know, I'm not saying all anger's bad. I'm a fan of anger, all right? But I'm just talking about when it's good when it's aimed in the right direction. But when Glenn Beck is telling all of America to shit themselves every time they hear the phrase social justice, or Wolf Blitzer's telling everybody to be afraid of Arabs because a squirrely-eyed dude tried to get on a plane with a Glock strapped to his cock, which is a completely different kind of strap-on, it just makes everyone scared, docile creatures that are willing to duct tape saran wrap around their kid's head if it means 1 second of security. So we just need to turn off this shit, you know? Okay, that got a little dark at the end, but... You guys need a little happy time? Is that what happened? I hate when new technology isn't compatible with old technology. Like, if you ever find yourself faxing a carrier pigeon, you need to ask yourself, why do I still own a fax machine? Yeah, too much TV in our news. It's obviously our news media's fucking shit. It is. I think we should, and people aren't watching it, they're not watching enough of it. Well, I don't know. If it's shit, why should they watch it? But people aren't informed enough, and I think we should take all the bullshit shows that we're all watching anyway, right? The reality crap, the fucking cooking shows, and the fishing shows, and all that, the dancing with the tards. Just take that stuff, and instead of subliminal marketing, put subliminal truth underneath, so people wouldn't even know they're learning. You're just watching Robot Cupcake Wars like you do every Tuesday, and underneath would be like, hey, kids make your clothing, and ExxonMobil owns your government, and why'd you ever give up drawing when you were younger? You were really good, and you quite enjoyed it, and you gave that up to what? File paperwork 12 hours a day? Why? So you could afford some marble countertop island in your kitchen? You don't even use the thing! You don't even use the fucking countertop! I could understand this life choice if you were humping that countertop, fucking balls deep in that marble every day, and twice on Sunday. Then this life choice would make sense. Just subtle messages like that. You just slip in. People would know their shit. Right? And the final thing that I think we need to do is just fucking punch apathy in the dick. You know, which is what we're doing with Occupy. You know, that's why Occupy is so incredible. And being... And getting the privilege to be in a lot of these sites around the country was it was amazing to see it spread. It spread like a fucking wave at a football stadium or a rash at a nudist colony. You know, it was incredible to see the energy spread. And look, the cops down there, like, I understand a lot of them are just doing their jobs, but there's got to be a little voice in the back of their head that's like, hey, maybe I should be arresting the bankers and the fucking economic assholes rather than pummeling a 19-year-old with a henna tattoo who's trying to save the world with arts and crafts. I mean, they were arresting people for talking through bullhorns and drawing in chalk on the sidewalk. Like, really? That's what? And they're like, oh, well, it disrupts the social order. Really? Foreclosing on millions of homes doesn't disrupt the social order? Fucking sucking all the money out of infrastructure and putting it in your friend's pockets doesn't disrupt the social order? We've got fucking bridge buttresses collapsing, fucking levees falling down, people floating by on old mattresses, and you're worried about a little chalk? What, like the society's gonna be like, oh shit, there's chalk! Where's the antidote for the chalk? I mean, maybe that's the way we could finally arrest some of those bankers, is just trick them into talking through a bullhorn. If the chant were good enough, maybe they would accidentally join in, you know? If it were like, go ahead and call us twats, we have credit default swaps. Maybe they would accidentally join in. And we watch the media do their hit pieces, which they continue to do, continue to go after and undermine it, because at the end of the day, it's corporate media, and they're as scared as the fucking big corporations. And, so those first weeks, they were like, oh, it's only young people down there, it's only young people. And it's like, first of all, it wasn't only young people. If you look at the marches were fucking every age, race, color, and creed, every different type of person. But if you're talking about the people sleeping at the encampments, yeah, it was a lot of young people just because of back pain. All right? It's not easy to sleep on a sidewalk. And besides, shouldn't it be young people? Who the fuck do you think gets to sit around in this bullshit for the next 70 years? Who do you think gets to sit around breathing the tainted air, eating the mutated fish, watching the fetid reality shit on TV, create a nation of malignant imaginations? It's the fucking young people. It's us. We got to fucking sit around twiddling our thumbs and flicking our ding-dongs and we're going, hey, remember back when we could have changed this shit? We should have, done something. And our kids are going to ask us where we were when we could have changed this path. And what are you going to fucking say? Well, there was this video game where you slingshot these angry birds, this tower. There's these little green dudes, and they want nothing to do with it, all right? Now, all right, you had to be there, but it was a lot of fun, so we did that a lot. We got to stand up. I mean, the media, fucking, one of the big first articles they put out about Occupy was, they said, Occupy is wreaking havoc on area bathrooms. You care more about the harm done to area bathrooms than you care about the harm done to the American people by CEOs and Wall Street titans who make Charlie Sheen's moral compass look like that of Harriet Tubman? Really? That's who you're going after? And then they were like, oh, mothers are having trouble getting their strollers around police barricades. Well, God forbid the revolution should get in the way of your evening stroll with little baby trust fund, all right? And this is a revolution. This may not be a traditional revolution. It's a revolution of thought. It's a mental awakening, all right? And it's not going to be dissuaded by police barricades, ankle sprains, driving rain, or pepper spray. Pepper spraying us is like spraying water on gremlins, all right? The more you do it, the more of us fucking show up. It's a thought revolution, and it's not going to fit easily into your Pilates schedule. I'm sorry, all right? It's not going to wait until after your hair appointment, dinner party, tummy tuck, or titty tilt. The revolution will not be televised, as Gil Scott-Heron told us, but it will be digitized and posted on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and anywhere real ideas are told. Yeah, you might have to scroll through a couple invites to Farmville, but it'll be in there. It'll be in there. The revolution will not be monetized, commercialized, circumcised, or anesthetized. The revolution would, however, like to apologize for shitting all over your apathy. But what choice did we have? The public bathrooms weren't working. Hey guys, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.